Hi guys, my name is Jeff. I'm from Richard Elite IELTS. This is a company I started to help you raise your level of your academic thinking, your IELTS, your university, and for your life. This is not for people who want dopamine hits and quick, funny YouTube videos. This is for people who want to be high-level academic thinkers. They want to go to top universities and they want to succeed in life. Now, this is not going to get millions of views because so many people want the lower level stuff, to be honest. But if you're looking for the good stuff, this video is going to go slowly, it's going to go step by step, and it's going to respect your intelligence and go through some of the challenges you have. And I want to show you how my course will alleviate almost all of them. It's a very comprehensive course, and it's going to benefit you straight through IELTS, through university, and into your life. In a future video, I'm going to give you a roadmap of how exactly that study works. But first of all, I want to talk about what academics is. And what is the difference between high-level academics and using templates or tricks and tips. You will find this video, this content, my ideas to be very, very different from all the other YouTube teachers of IELTS because they're looking at the mass market. They're looking at the average intelligence, the average ambition. They're looking for things that make people feel better and feel excited and click, but in the long term, these things are academically weak and they don't help them reach their ultimate goals. I'm going to give you some examples of how that happens, just to prove to you what this means. You can sit back, relax, listen, have a think about what I'm saying, and well, it's 2 minutes in, but who is this guy? My name is Jeff. I am a University of Cambridge graduate. I graduated at the top of my class, and I've been teaching English and IELTS for over 20 years. I also teach English for academic purposes, so I know what students who are trying to get into university and do a degree are like, and what they're thinking, and what their challenges are, and what they need. My students are very, very successful when they go, especially they go to the UK. And because I'm teaching them how to be an academic. What is academic thought? What does a student need to learn how to do in the Western world in order to become a member of sort of an international society of higher level people who are operating at a high thinking level and high standards? Now, this doesn't mean that everybody who's an academic is incredibly intelligent. A lot of people at Cambridge are hardworking. The number of geniuses where you're just like, my God, this person is way out there, is, this is like the really pushing the edge of sanity, the top 30%. A lot of people are just really smart and work hard. They're not there's no expectation from me that you are like, I've got an IQ of 200. It's not necessary, okay? If you're here, you're still listening, you're smart enough to do this, right? All of the people who want to be template users and want tips and tricks and, this kind of stuff, give me this free, they're gone now. They're no longer on this video. On that point, my course is at the moment, as of January 2026, $499 for a 4-week course. I think it's about $250 for 2 weeks, and it's incredibly good value. It will change your life. Absolutely promised, and it's guaranteed. So if you go through the course and you get to the end and you go, oh my God, that wasn't worth it, I'll give you your money back. This is just not going to happen. Okay, so who is this channel for? Let's start with you, and then we'll get into everything the course can do for you. You're ambitious, you want intellectual respect, you want to be competent academically, You want to be able to stand up in a room and talk about a subject in an intelligent way that is not full of mistakes and holes. You don't want to get embarrassed, right? You want to be good academically. I'm going to show you how to do this. You want to get into a top university, and you want to be successful at that university. Let's stop and talk about university a little bit. If you are not fully prepared for university, you will go in, and even if you got a 7, 8, or 9 in IELTS, you will go in and have a hard time, because IELTS is like super simple, really simple. I'm going to explain why and how the thinking works. Once you understand that, IELTS is just dead easy. University level is higher, and what I'm doing in this course is preparing you for university level thinking, and then that pushes you way past IELTS, and then you go back and do IELTS. It's like, oh, this is easy. I know the thinking. I know the high level thinking. I know the strategy. And IELTS becomes easy. And then your university life, when you go, becomes much, much easier, which means you spend far less time doing essays. Like almost no time. My students don't spend time on their computer struggling and stressing and worrying and making a mess. I'm going to do a pre-sessional course that teaches you how to write essays and what the structure of your workflow should be, what works really, really well, so that you have a way of a process of doing it, right? Most students go into university and they don't know the process of making an essay. So I'll give you a small example, right? They'll write their introduction first, and then the tutor reads it and goes, oh, this isn't very clear. It's disorganized. It's a bit messy. This will happen to you. If you follow what I'm saying, it won't happen to you. So here's the solution. You write your paragraphs, all of your paragraphs first. Now, there's all kinds of things that I will teach you about what goes into those paragraphs and the thinking behind it, the words, the language, everything. But when all the paragraphs are done, your essay is done, you know what you've done. You know the structure, you know the ideas, and you're like, okay, this is my area. And then you just go back and put a little background on it. You've got all the information, right? This is a small example of how this course, pre-sessional course in the future that I make, will save you a ton of time and make your writing far, far better. Okay, so you want to be successful at university. When you have free time, because your essays are easier to write, you're going to go and take a train into London and go to the museums without having a worry, oh my God, I don't know what to do about my essay. Because you'll have the information for your essay, and as you're going around and doing things, like going to plays and whatever it is you enjoy, those ideas will process. You'll enjoy yourself, and you'll be processing ideas, like digesting, you know? When you go back to look at your essay again, you'll go, okay, I know what to do. Right? This is a small example. So you want to be successful at university. You don't want to spend all your time in your room in front of your computer. Okay, and I'll show you how to avoid that. You want to be exceptional. You don't want to be a low-level university student who uses templates and gets a piece of paper and leaves. Let's talk about these degrees. You see these degrees here, these 4? University of York, first class degree with honors and the York Award. University of Cambridge, Masters. I also have a Trinity Diploma, TESOL, and a PGCE, right? So how do you become exceptional? You want to be at the higher levels. You want to, it's all in your thinking, which I'm going to teach you, right? This is what you want to do. You want structured learning. You want a pathway so you know where you're going, what you're doing, and also structured ways of thinking that can help you work through problems. Will save you a ton of time, right? You want to be sure you can do it. I have a EAP class I teach at the moment, and we're 4 months in, and I showed them an essay from a student from another class and a student from a past class, and they just laughed. They literally just laughed at it. And I was like, well, what's the thing? And they're like, this passed? This is crazy. This is terrible because boop, 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 boop. They knew all the reasons. And I was like, job done, right? This is what I'm going to do for you on IELTS. Okay. Now, long term, you want to be an international citizen. You want to be respected. You want to go to work. You have, like, you're a dentist, a doctor, you're an engineer, you have a project, you're working as a content creator. You want people to respect you internationally, and you want to be able to express your ideas, right? There's a way to express your ideas, but there's also, and this is something no YouTube teachers talk about, there's a way to organize your ideas so that they become clear for the listener. So you're going step by step through the situation so that they can follow what you're saying. They can follow your reasoning and logic, which we'll get into in a minute. So let's move on to academic rigor. Rigorous means you've gone through something very carefully, step by step by step, and you know everything about this, okay? Academic rigor. So if you go back to IELTS and you say, okay, some students are using templates and they just copy sentences and then they pass and they go, ha, I use these templates and passed. There is a massive problem with these people. Not on a personal level, academically. When we understand what academic essays are for, what's going on, why do we do these things, you will understand, and we'll go through it, you will understand how these have a massive impact on your ability to be successful at university and in your life. Now, let's go through it slowly. What is an essay for? An essay is your point of view. It's your idea. It's you saying, I think this is true. And it's usually A is B. I think this is good. Or A causes B, and it's your opinion. Or we should do this. It's your opinion, right? Now, in real life, you need to put forward your ideas, and people will say, oh, why do you want to do that? Why do you think it's a good idea to spend all of our money in the company on research? Or, my other example, if you have a service you're giving to someone, why is it that I should use your service? And your service is doing this job. Why does my company need this job? I don't think we need this. The company might say, I think it's the wrong way, Or you could be a project leader and you can have someone in your project who says, oh, no, leader, your idea is no good. My idea is better. I'm so smart. Now, what are you going to say? So what it is an essay is, this is my opinion on how things work. And you will explain to people why that idea makes sense. And when you explain it, you give it by reasons. Reason 1, reason 2, reason 3. Each reason is a paragraph. So an essay at university in IELTS is practicing giving reasons for your opinion. I think the company should do this. Here's my first reason, paragraph. Here's my second reason, paragraph. So you're practicing supporting your ideas. Now, the better you support your ideas, the more people will listen to you. The clearer you explain it, the more they will follow you. If they can't understand what you're saying, they won't follow you. Likewise, if there are 5 people trying to get a contract and the company says, tell me your idea, and you say, oh, blah, 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 I can't explain it very well, Someone else will get the job. If you explain it clearly and logically and step by step, paragraph by paragraph, as it were, you will become better than the other people and you'll get the job. That's the goal, right? So we can use templates, we can use AI to write essays, but at some point you're going to need to explain something for yourself. Imagine you use AI, you say, AI, tell me how I should present these ideas and these reasons for my point of view. And you think, aha, very clever, right? I gave all my ideas, I said it, AI did the work for me. What happens when they start asking you questions? The whole thing falls apart and you're going to look foolish because it's not your thinking. If it's your thinking and you know who, where, why, when, what, you've done the critical thinking about that topic, it doesn't matter what they ask you, you're going to come and tell them the reasons. And you'll have strength and you'll be respected and you'll get the contract that you want. You'll get the IELTS mark, you'll get the university degree at a top level. That's how it works, okay? So if you're still here, you understand those things already. Sorry, so it just drives me nuts seeing these people thinking, oh, I can use AI or use a template. There's a price to pay for everything, right? Okay, so good, we understand that. Now, we understand that, good. Now, what are your challenges? Where are you at as a student? And how can my course help you? If you think about it, like $500, whatever I'm going to charge, is giving you access to Cambridge level thinking, which I promise you will get you through York, Southampton, Durham, you name it. It sounds like snobby of me, but I've been to these universities, I've taught there, I've taught students who've gone there, and I know the difference. There's a reason Cambridge, Oxford are number one, St. Andrews, right? There's a reason for it. And I'm going to give you access to a lot of that thinking. And then when you turn around and look at IELTS, you're going to go, yeah, this is really simple, right? So, again, there's a money back guarantee in this because I know it works, right? So who are you? And what are your difficulties? Number one, the most important thing is how you are thinking about the questions you get and how you respond and what your reasons are. Which reasons do you choose? On IELTS, do you choose agree or do you choose disagree? How do you answer that question? Now, I've got videos on that on my channel, so you can go through. But the thinking that goes behind getting to those answers is really important. And it's not, like, this drives me nuts. Like, if I go to YouTube teachers, like IELTS Advantage, Liz, E2, and some other ones, whoever, it doesn't matter. And I will do this in videos. I will take apart their advice and show you the weaknesses. There's videos all over the place. Band-Aid IELTS in 20 seconds. I'm sorry, they're not Band-Aid. And even though they are teachers, like, you have to understand that there's no, like, YouTube is an open format. Like, getting into Cambridge is not open format. This is not like make a channel and then you get into Cambridge and off you go and you can tell people what you want. You know, this is getting into high level thinking, right? YouTube, open format, you don't know their degrees, you don't know their success rates, you have no idea, right? I can tell you that I can take their ideas, the way they're teaching you, what they're teaching you to do, and the way they're thinking, and tear them apart into little pieces and throw them away. Easily, trust me, easily. They're giving you average stuff. You don't want average stuff, right? So the thinking that goes behind, the critical thinking that goes behind your spoken and your written answers is key. Now, You want to be sure that your answer is right. So the point is, when you go through my course, it's not just me telling you the way things are. I'm bringing you along. As a teacher, my job is to put a challenge in front of you to think about things in a different way. And I'm pulling you along so that your thinking starts to change and your thinking starts to get to raise its level. And in the course, it's like training, right? It's like, okay, let's do it again. Think through this question. How do you see this question? Use the tools that I'm teaching you to analyze this question. And they're tools that I promise you nobody else is using in YouTube. This is going to raise your level and it's going to prepare you for university, right? It's going to solve the problem if you don't know what to say. It's going to solve the problem of how to plan, right? How to organize your ideas, your reasons, how to make them sound strong and logical and clear. And then it's how to put the vocabulary and the grammar on top of those ideas to express them. A lot of the problem behind what you're dealing with as a student is emotional. You don't want to sound too simple. You don't want to be shamed and you don't want to be judged. And when you get the critical thinking behind these essays and behind academics and understand how to support your ideas, you're going to know that they're correct and you're going to be able to argue them in a clear, concise way so that people listen and you have full confidence that what you're doing is correct. Okay? We've talked about YouTube. We haven't talked about burning out. Sometimes students, you may feel burnt out because, there's so much information out there. And there's so many people calling themselves YouTube teachers and whatnot. Let's talk a little bit about the course. If you're still here, then you're interested in the course. You should be. It's great value. What's going to happen in the course? You're going to get, as I said, the thinking behind academics. You're going to learn how to question the question. Let me give you an example. One of the questions, common questions, is, does A outweigh B? So do the advantages of taking an airplane outweigh the disadvantages of taking a train? Whatever, right? And students will 95% of the time say, I'm going to tell you the advantages of taking a plane and the disadvantages of taking a train. That is not answering the question. Do you know why? The question, and you have to be very careful, word for word. The question says, does A outweigh B? What is outweigh? Right? That means your job is not to say, there are many advantages, no. Your job is to say, these are the most important advantages. This makes up 80%. These ideas make up 80% of the advantages. And these are the disadvantages. And the advantages outweigh the disadvantages. What it means is it worth doing? Should you do this thing? If there's many, many disadvantages, no. If there's many, many advantages, yes. So don't say they're equal, because this is like a very, it's a very Asian answer in the sense that you want to say everyone's peaceful and, ping an if you're Chinese, right? I speak Chinese, yes. Outweigh. Are the advantages so great that you say, don't worry about the disadvantages, let's do it? That's what you have to write in your essay. This essay will argue that the advantages do outweigh the disadvantages. Sounds simple, now you understand it, right? But how many teachers have taught you that? I can show you numerous videos on YouTube where the teacher is doing exactly the same mistake that I told you students do. And I promise you the examiner, when the examiner reads your essay, will say, wow, this student actually answered the question. What happens to your mark? Goes up. And I can show you examples like this for every kind of IELTS question. And I guarantee you at university, they will assess you in this way. So before we just start like using templates and start writing and start hurry up, rush and write an essay. No, we're going to get the thinking right. So I'll give you another example. In that question, I'll bet you haven't thought of this. Have you? What kind of airplane are we talking about? What kind of train are we talking about? Is a small two-seater airplane the same as taking a 747? They don't use 747s. 737, 800? It's a huge airplane, right? Full of people. What if you're only going an hour or 20 minutes? Is that an advantage? How far are you traveling? Are you going 20,000 miles or are you going 1,000 miles? Maybe a train's better because you don't need to go through customs or security. Maybe a train's more comfortable. Maybe fewer people take the train. You have to learn to ask these questions. Less so on IELTS, but once you know to do it, IELTS becomes easy and university becomes manageable. And this is the training we go through. So for $500, you are going to save yourself so much hassle, trouble. You're going to be confident. You're going to go in to do your essay and you're going to know what to do. Okay? So there are questions and then we go through the thinking. We go through what an introduction is. I'll give you another example. Paraphrasing is a silly thing to do on an introduction. Why? We don't do that at university. You write a background at university. And in normal life, you write a background. If someone asks you, where is the store? You don't say, oh, now I'm going to tell you the location of the department store. You'd be like, what? Just tell me where the store is, right? So you could ask the question, well, which kind of store are you looking for? Ah, okay. If we're talking about this kind of store, you need to go here. If we're talking about this kind of store, you need to go here, right? They're looking for intelligence, not for a parrot. This is another example. And I train you to avoid this paraphrasing. Where do you paraphrase? Because the only argument for paraphrasing is you show that you understand the question. But if you're questioning the question, if you're giving a background, you already showed that you understand the question. Now, the other thing with paraphrasing is you can use language, you know other words. There are other more intelligent, important places to paraphrase in an IELTS essay. Don't do it right off the top in the introduction, okay? So these are small examples of some of the important learning you'll get in my course. The next big one is we talked about giving your reasons. Is it easy? You just give your reasons and finish? No, there's a ton to it that I won't get into now. There's so much into it, how to make an argument clear and professional and persuasive and structured. There's a way to do it. And it's not with templates, it's with how you think. Okay, so if you want more information, go to my website. There's PDFs you can download. There are the courses you can sign up for. If you want, you can sign up for a one-to-one course with me. You're welcome. It's a good price, and the value is amazing. All my students are successful. You're going to be successful, and I wish you the very, very best. And I'll see you over on the website. At the bottom of the homepage, there's a email me form. If you don't want to sign up right away, email me with say hello, tell me how you're doing. We'll get to know each other. I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of students that are friends of mine that around the world, Turkey, China, Vietnam, Taiwan, Japan, you name it, Latin America, all over the place, the Middle East, and Europe, which is great, right? And this is one of the things I love. My students are doctors and dentists and photographers, and they're just successful in their lives, and this is what we're going for. Okay, thank you very much, guys, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. Good luck.